Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Dialed Podcast. Today we are on episode, what are we at now? 4?
Or
Time flies when you're
yeah,
having fun, right? Today, in this episode, we're going to be talking about post-show blues. I am Nick McElhenney, your host. This is my co-host, Anthony Beretta. And actually just finished competing on an OCB stage a week ago now. Time flies.
yeah, it's actually been basically a
Yeah.
week. Yeah.
Yeah. So how are you feeling now, man? How's the mental now that you are officially off stage? You get a little bit more food. How you feeling?
Good that I have food again. That's for sure. Eating like close to, like 800 calories above what I was eating about a week out from the show. So definitely a little bit more food. I got my Ninja Creamy back too. So I've been having one of those every single night, which has been craving my sweet tooth. So I'm doing pretty good, man. Honestly, a little mental battle going on in my head right now where it's like I want to hop back on stage. I kind of posted about it a little bit on my Instagram story, which was, basically just like not feeling like the job's done yet. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
know if you've ever felt that way before.
No, dude, I'm feeling that right now. I'm in the middle of my off season. I haven't stepped on stage this year, and all I want to do is get back on stage. But I know in bodybuilding, the most important part of it is the off season and the growth, and especially like when the food is high and the body fat is also a little high. That's the most uncomfortable part of bodybuilding, in my opinion. But it's also arguably more important than the actual prep itself. But yeah. I'll talk on this as well. I don't want to put you on the spot too much, but like how is mental, man? Because I know it can be very, very, very difficult. It is very difficult post show. I know that you're thinking about doing another show. What's floating around in your head right now?
Yeah. So at the beginning of the year, I kind of told myself that I made it a goal to go get an OCB pro card. So that's why it's like job's not done yet mentally. And I felt like I left a lot of things on the table with my last show. So that's why I was like, I feel like I can kind of like make it a run back. But also it's, shows are not cheap. So, also like running it back again is going to be like, it's just draining financially, like mentally, and also physically too. Especially being in prep because I've been in prep since December, basically, like the last week in December. So being in prep for this long has just taken its toll. But also, it's like I still have such a big fire lit under my butt right now, where it's like I just want to get back out there. So right now, I'm just like I'm at two ends of a rope where I'm just trying to find balance between both. And I know for a fact that I need a good off season specifically to focus on my weak points, build that up, and then next time come back and become like undeniable.
Yeah, for sure. And for anybody who's just now tuning in, so Ant's story, he competed in 2 shows in pretty much like the last month, right? First show was in San Antonio. That was at the beginning of May, right? And he placed runner up to his pro card. So he was that close, guys. Was that close. Got beat at the final 2. And then we went on to Kansas, Wichita, Kansas, and didn't quite get the placing that we wanted there, right?
Right.
But did you get any feedback? What was official feedback? Or
Yeah, so I was thinking about not doing it, but I was like, I'm just gonna do it anyways, just see what they say.
okay, because I know we
And it
talked
was
about that.
Yeah, it was, funny enough, it was this like, pretty much the same exact feedback as last time, which was just, like, looking really good, like, literally, they said word for word, like, "Built for men's physique. I just need to work on my back a little bit more, and then I'll be pretty much solid there." So, they're like, "Just keep on competing," and I'm like, "Alright, well," but also I don't know about OCB anymore, truthfully, especially with like all the shows that I've been seeing online and like the Michael Donato thing that's been going on lately too. It's like I don't even know if it's worth it anymore, and I kind of just want to go towards something that might bring more value to my life, which could be NPC. So
Yeah, and that in itself is a whole rabbit hole. But you did kind of bring up the Team MD thing, and that's kind of something that's trending in the bodybuilding space right now, specifically the natural bodybuilding space. You want to kind of give like a brief little rundown on what the drama is?
yeah, so I've been following Michael Donato for quite some time now. He was actually one of my inspirations for the OCB, coaching natural athletes, and just like seeing his page, like really inspired me to like, keep posting and just like be a coach, honestly. And I was like, oh, this guy has a really good relationship with his clients. I see that he gets a bunch of pro cards, so on and so forth. He's a young dude. I think he's like relatively close to my age, 27. And yeah, right now he's just going through a lot right now because Everyone's saying that his plans are all copy and paste, which not specifically from him, but more or less from his assistant coaches that they're using AI to generate all these meal plans, training programs, and actually they're copying and pasting all these meal plans, giving it to different clients. And the only thing that they're changing are the grams. And even that has been slightly off, if anything. So right now they're going through that. I know also Michael Donato is getting some fire and backlash from it as well because some people are coming out about him now too. So, and he's also coming out about like I guess rigging shows and stuff. I guess because you need 5 competitors to compete for a pro card at an OCB show, right?
If there's less than
And
4
what?
or if there's less sorry, if there's less than
Yeah,
5, then
yeah,
there's no pro qualifier. No pro cards are given
exactly.
out. You gotta have at least minimum 5. Sorry,
Mhm.
continue.
So what he did was I guess this is all like up in the air, but I guess what he did supposedly is he actually paid someone to hop on stage and that guy was clearly not even ready for a show, but he paid him to hop on stage and make it a pro qualifier and then his guy won the show. Cuz the other guys just like looked nothing, not even remotely good. So he knew if he just bought some guy out to hop on stage, that would have been a pro card win.
And that happened, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
He
I
went
think it
on,
was
his
the
client went.
Louisiana OCB show, I guess.
Yeah,
So,
I think that was, like, right before your show, actually.
yeah, I think so. And the sad part is too, I feel like I would've beat that kid, so if I did it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
regardless.
Was there any Team MD clients in the show that you competed in?
No, so actually, Tommy Brown, who is a friend of Michael Donato, or he was his friend, Tommy Brown was at that show. I don't know if you remember him at all,
I do,
but
yeah.
he's in the space, and essentially, the guy Omar and the kid who won bodybuilding, who got his pro card, those are Tommy's guys. So none of Michael Donato's guys were in my show. No. Yeah, but apparently Tommy Brown's now not friends with Michael Donato, and he's going like, I don't know, just back and forth. So yeah, basically Tommy's the one that came forward saying that Donato rigged the OCB show. So
Yeah. I mean, gotta love it. And especially just using AI in coaching as well. Definitely using it as a tool, right? But, I mean, anybody that's writing meal plans per AI probably shouldn't be a coach, man. I saw, like, some sort of ad on, what was it, like, Instagram Threads or something a couple of weeks ago, and it just really bugged me because it was promoting, like, taking AI meal plans, and whatever they were promoting was, like, making them look fancier using, like, a Canva template or something like that, and they were running this as an ad for coaches that are making AI meal plans to make them look better, and I remember I commented on it, I was like, "If you're using ChatGPT to write your meal plans, you shouldn't be a coach."
yeah. Hmm.
I put a lot of time and energy into making my meal plans for my guys. And on top of that, making it not just super bland, chicken, rice, quinoa, brown rice, whatever, which I feel like ChatGPT would probably give you. I'd love to kind of look through and like nitpick their meal plan.
Hmm.
But yeah, there's so much more that goes into it that ChatGPT just cannot even remotely cover. Like it's not going to consider the actual athlete, which is something that I do, and especially like around their lifestyle too. Especially, athletes, I do this as well, but specifically like in my lifestyle clients. Like I spend a lot of time with them before we even start working together, trying to learn their schedule, learn their routine, learn the foods that they actually currently enjoy eating right now. And then I build them a meal plan that's not only like tailored to them and foods that they enjoy eating, but tailored to their lifestyle and their routine. Like if you, for example, like say that you are somebody who works a 9 to 5, and the only time that you can get in a workout is in the morning, and you have to wake up at like 5 a.m. and then immediately go to work right after that. Like I'm not going to give you a meal that takes you 30 minutes to cook. I'm going to give you something that you can just get quick, easy, down, out the door to the gym, and then same thing for your post workout and the rest of the meals throughout the day. I'm going to make it easy to fit into your schedule, easy to prep if you're going to be at work all day, and overall, like that is the type of like customization that you should be applying to like everybody. And that's just something that AI can't even fathom to cover.
Yeah. Dude, the worst thing that ever see a coach do, because I help coach other coaches like build up basically like being like a basic slash intermediate coach. Like I just try to like push them in the right direction. And a lot of times what I see is a client of mine will send me over the meal plan that they made for one of their clients. And then the issue that I see the intake form was completely, like, not even looked at almost, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's like,
Mhm.
dude, the intake form is the most important thing that you can have because it shows exactly what needs to go into the plan, not only nutritionally speaking, but also training-wise, right? So, ignoring the intake form is huge, and then 2, you can tell if someone makes something through AI in ChatGPT or Claude, whatever the case is. You can see it because the numbers are completely off. Like,
Yeah, that's it's not even accurate. Yeah.
it's
That's
not
a great
accurate
point to
at
pull
all,
up.
and it's like, you know, I don't know if you've ever seen it before from for yourself personally, but, like, I see it all the time when someone has me review a meal plan that they made for someone else. It's like, dude, what am I looking at? You're giving someone who's 150 pounds 250 grams of protein. It's like, what? You know?
No, it's just completely, yeah, overkill.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think it's disgusting, especially with what a lot of coaches do is they take advantage of people that are working for their hard-earned cash, and you're just taking full advantage of everything that they're doing because you want to make an extra buck. Just because you lost 20 pounds, hopped on stage, you think you're a coach now? It's like, nah, dude.
Two different things.
You
2
know,
completely different
completely
things.
different. Yeah.
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 No, and yeah, I'm just glad that, at least going through prep, getting the experience, learning different foods and whatnot, you can kinda get an idea of like how to coach decently. But there's a lot of people that don't even, especially when they're going through a prep, they're not even like they're paying their coach to not have to think about it. Right. I
Mhm.
think that's really what a coach should be doing is taking that stressor off your plate. And your coach is just saying, hey, you just got to check these boxes. That's it. Here you go. Here's everything that you possibly need. Made it as easy as possible for you. If you have any questions, of course, let me know. But just taking that stress load off of your plate.
Yeah. You wanna know the funny thing, Nick, is I was looking through my Instagram DMs the other day. This was, like, last night, just looking for, like, I forgot what I was looking for, but I was scrolling through my Instagram DMs, and I saw that when I was, like, popping off on TikTok, a lot of people came to me for fitness advice, like making meal plans, making like, helping them with macros, training. And every single response, and I have receipts for it, I was like, "I'm not a personal trainer and I can't help you, I'm sorry." And it's like, because I knew that I didn't know anything, right? Like, I just knew how to pick up a dumbbell and follow a plan. But it's like, kinda knowing that and then, educating yourself so you don't take advantage of other people who need help, right? You just point them in the right direction at that point. But I don't know. I think that's very crucial is just stop taking advantage of other people. It's really sad, because it can scare people off from ever wanting to compete or you know what I mean?
And like, don't think that, I guess this is another good point is just like, you know, don't be afraid to like, if you don't feel confident in something, like a specific part of coaching, don't be afraid to like outsource that lead or that client to somebody who is more qualified to get them the results that they want. Right. I do this
Mhm.
all the time because my girlfriend's a coach as well. And anytime I get a female lead, I'm like, hey, listen, I could help you. But if we're being honest, I think that you would fit a lot better with a female coach, somebody who literally understands your body and everything else that goes into it. Obviously, we could work together, but you're going to be such a better fit with somebody who is more specialized to cover exactly what you need.
Dude,
And
100%. We just talked about that at the Airbnb. I was like, "Tori, if I ever get any female client that comes to me, I'm sending them right over to you because I feel the
yes,
same exact way, you know?"
yeah, and I mean, a lot of there's so many coaches, specifically male coaches out there, that think that coaching women and coaching men are the same exact thing. Especially when people are like first starting out in coaching and they just take whoever they want as long as they can just make a couple of bucks. You're taking advantage of people because you don't know how women work. You're gonna go into it thinking that you can just coach a woman just like you can coach a man when there are so many different other factors at play. And I personally think that that is a little reckless. The like responsible, mature adult thing to do would be recommend that client to somebody else. Don't fuck them over. Like, you're not qualified. You don't have any experience in that person. And yeah, give them to somebody who would, right? What if you were that client? What would you want? So,
Yeah. No, for sure. And I know you can kind of speak off someone else's experience, which is your girlfriend. I know we kind of talked about it a little bit like before the podcast. I don't know what you want to dive into on that regard,
but
but
yeah,
I know it
I
kind
mean,
of can like,
let's just dive into right now. Let's just talk about like we've talked about reverse diet. I feel like a million times on this podcast, but it's now that we're specifically talking about post show blues, I think it's so important to just kind of like revisit the topic. Because one thing that she never really had, and what has screwed her in every aspect post show, is she's done 4 shows now, and sorry, 3 shows now, and she has yet to have a successful off season. She has yet to have a successful reverse diet. She never ends up like something has always ended up happening, whether it's a problem with the coach, whether it's her like being out of the country and then just falling off plan, things like that. But in the long run, that is what has kind of screwed her, right? Like, especially coming off of her, she tried to prep last year. Hopefully she's cool with me spilling this, but she tried to prep last year and she made it, I think, like 12 weeks out, and she lost her period, hormones crashed. And she also realized, talking about fake coaches, the coach that she was working with, she wasn't actually messaging that coach. She was messaging some assistant coach from some back end phone number with green texts. And she didn't figure this out. And she finally figured that out after she pulled the plug on prep. And in that whole period too, she never did a reverse diet. Just she was still 12 weeks out, granted, but at the same time, even at that point, you still want to reverse properly,
Mhm.
right? And I kind of took her coaching into my own hands right this year, and she's aiming to step on stage either November or December this year. And before we could even get into a fat loss phase, we had to go through an entire health phase to just correct everything and manage her hormones and get her body back being healthy again, because that's what happens when you don't nail your reverse diet. And then finally, once we made it through that health phase and her body was back to normal, then we could get into a fat loss phase and let alone prep. But yeah, she gained a lot more weight than she initially really wanted to. And a majority of that is just because her body was all out of whack because she didn't do a reverse diet.
Right, right. Yeah. No, it's really, like, I wanna say incredible, but I feel like that's a bad word to use, but incredible to see what actually happens to your body when you don't follow the reverse versus when you do, and the, I guess, effects that it can actually have on your body and the toll that it can actually really take. Because it's not just like a physical toll, it's like a mental toll because of the physical toll that's happening on your body, right? It's like you just go through this, like, this phase, this mental fog of like, God, I gain, because I've seen it where some people gain like 20, 30 pounds in like a week, and it's like it completely destroys the physique that you tried to build up over the past 6 months.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah, it is. And I think been seeing a lot of posts on Instagram about this lately, but people that just post show, they just end up binging and not being able to control themselves. And I was talking to my girlfriend about this earlier, and I think the way that you do post show and the way that I do post show are pretty much the same thing, but typically shows are on Saturday, right? So Saturday night, I'll just eat whatever the fuck I want because I just spent 20 weeks in prep. I want to enjoy some good food. I just got off the stage. That is part of the experience. And then the next day, rolling over onto what would pretty much be a Sunday, I'll also give myself a free pass to just kind of eat whatever I want to eat. Now, for the most part, come Sunday, my stomach is already doing somersaults because I've destroyed it the previous day. And that's another thing is like you just post show, just know you can't eat as much food as you think you can. If you think you can smash a bunch of, you won't. Like, you won't. It's not going to happen. But then Sunday, I'll just kind of give myself another free pass to just really kind of eat whatever I want. And then for me, mentally, I'm always like, all right, cool. Sunday, I can kind of eat whatever, because then when Monday comes around, I'm right back on plan. I'm back on the reverse diet. I worked hard for this physique. I worked hard for this body. I worked hard for my abs to be this chiseled. I don't want to lose it all, right? I want to keep it as best as I possibly can. And I think the more people should kind of have that mindset going into post show. And then, yeah. And then also just kind of explaining a reverse diet, because I don't think we've really actually explained it. All that you're pretty much trying to do in a reverse diet is you going into contest prep, you get to a point where your body is just depleted, your food is super, super low. And so what would happen if you just pretty much ate whatever you wanted to eat post show, which is what most people want to do, is you would just gain a bunch of weight like that, tons of weight. And then, so what you have to do is just essentially a day or two after the show, jump back on what's called a reverse diet. And basically, what you're doing on a reverse diet is just working your calories back up to maintenance and then chilling out at maintenance for a little bit. Just kind of let your body recover, let your hormones restabilize, just get everything back in a natural, healthy rhythm. And then once you're good there, then your body can handle a little bit more food if you really want to add a little bit more food. Some people will then transition into a growth phase after that, slight surplus there. But for the most part, a reverse diet just stops you from gaining a huge increase in weight and also just keeps your metabolism and hormones in a really healthy state.
Mhm. Yeah, you hit it right on the money, man. I mean, because genuinely speaking, if you were to go back to what you were eating, say, before prep started, which for a lot of people is around, I would say, I don't know, like what, 2,500, 3,000 calories. It's like, dude, you just ate during depletion phase of peak week around like 1,500 calories. Like, what do you think's going to happen? You know, like you're going to gain fat, a lot of it, especially if you don't have it under control. So, yeah, it's super, super crucial to just to think about it before, but also, like, talk to your coach about it too, right? Like, we just had one of my Wednesday group calls, and we were talking about, the reverse diet for, like, 30 minutes just because of how, like, a lot of coaches don't mentally prep their clients for what's about to happen, you know, 'cause, for a first timer, they have no idea, right? They just think, "Oh, I just do the show and I'm good," right? No, buddy. No, you still got like, 4, 6 weeks of just like pure like being dialed in, you know? So like having someone to get you ready for that too.
And also, you just kinda like, as an athlete too, that is something that you need to prepare for too, because, as amazing as some coaches can be, a lot I'm just gonna kinda be blunt here. Some coaches really only care about getting you on the stage. As soon as you are off the stage, job's done, their reputation has been, held, right? Doesn't really matter what happens after the show. Nobody's watching the client after the show. Everybody's watching to see what they look like on stage. As a coach, that's kind of what matters is the package that you bring to stage. So there's a lot of coaches out there that care a lot before you get on the stage and then kind of go a little bit silent after you get off the stage. So that's definitely that if you're listening to this and you don't have a coach right now and you were considering stepping on the stage in the future, make sure that a reverse diet is something that you have a conversation about because it's just as important. And especially too, when you're talking about pricing and things like that when it comes to being a coach, if you're not going month to month or if you're going like a paid in full or something, make sure that a reverse diet is included into that because it is super 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 crucial and it's very difficult to kind of do on your own. I would definitely want and recommend some accountability to get through that. Even if you know how to do it yourself and you want to handle it by yourself, a lot of like, I don't personally think this is true, but I have heard so many people say like the reverse diet is harder than the actual prep itself. I don't know if you would agree on that, but
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty difficult because you can't go back to like, because especially after a show, you start binging, you start to feel what it's like to eat good food again, and you're like, oh, I just want more of this, and it's like, well, you have to take a step back. Like, you literally have to have that conversation with yourself to take a step back on like Sunday into Monday. Cause I'm like, you talked about it before, right? We basically do things the same way as like Saturday, especially with like an OCB show. That's probably the only reason why I love OCB is because you get out so early.
this kind of
So you can just like eat whatever you want the rest of the day. But also at the same time, like Saturday, the way that I usually do it is just like I eat whatever I want. And then Sunday, I like to go out for like, I don't know, I like pancakes in the morning or something like that. Like we had pancakes.
good
And
pancake.
then, have like, I don't know, I like having protein, like a lot of protein on Sunday because that just like fills me up and keeps me satiated. And then it's also like a step back where it's like I'm not really hungry and I can kind of just be like, all right, well, I'm kind of content, you know? So like that has really helped me. I know for some other people, one of my clients ate like a whole watermelon post show because he wanted to just fill up his
Remember that?
stomach. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it's smart.
It's different
And
for
then
anybody.
yeah, and then another thing too, while we're on this topic, like as far as like what you should do post show, what I see a lot of people doing is getting off stage and then just immediately smashing like an entire box of crumble cookies. And honestly, what I would recommend or what I'm gonna do at my next show is bring a scoop of protein powder and some electrolytes because you pretty much for more than likely it depends on your coach. We talked about this in the last episode, but you may or may not be essentially depleted and have really really low water in your system. So electrolytes will kind of help get things back up a little bit quicker. And then on top of that, having protein shake right when you get off a stage that might not be ideally what you want, but it will help. Especially if you're, planning on downing a bunch of sweets, or I'll use the crumble example again. If you're planning to devour something like that as soon as you get off a stage, blunt that blood sugar spike a little bit with a protein shake. You're used to it. You can down a protein shake in 10 seconds. Drink it. Just mix a scoop of protein powder with some water. It's not going to be heavy. It's not really going to take up too much room in your stomach. You're still going to have room for all the sweets, but that'll help you from completely binging, and your body will thank you later because, you know, blood sugar won't go through the roof.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I think one of the best decisions I made was going to Brazilian steakhouse right after the show. Cause, dude, when I tell you, I didn't really wanna eat anything the rest of the night, like, I was good, cause I was just filled with just steak, chicken, shrimp, like, I don't know, just, like, really good proteins, and then we were surrounded by really good people, so, like, I don't know, I would set yourself up for success, if that makes sense, like, the day before, like, knowing, "Hey, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna do this," like, of course, like, your family and friends are probably gonna bring stuff over, like crumble cookie or something like that just to celebrate with you, but, ultimately, like, just be very mindful because at the end of the day, like, even though it's post-show calories, like, that still can either make or break your reverse diet because it could, like, spiral, like, it can cause a domino effect if you don't be careful about it, you know?
Definitely, yeah. Always have a plan. I was just watching like a Ryan Terry video actually before we got on this, and he was talking about traveling in prep and just staying on diet. And I can't remember exactly what he said word for word, but essentially, like, failure to plan in advance, failure to like prepare is essentially just like failure altogether. That is one of the biggest parts of a bodybuilding prep. And that I would say continues even more when you get off as a stage. So have a plan, plan out, make reservations, which is what a lot of people do, but at least, give yourself and that's part of the fun part too. It's just for me, like peak week, I'm trying to my biggest priority in peak week is trying to figure out what my post show meal is going to be.
Yeah.
My coach is handling the rest. That's all I got to worry about, and then just executing everything else. But that should be
Yeah.
clockwork at that point.
No, yeah, it's funny because, when you brought up that Ryan Terry thing, this is this one thing that I tell all of my clients. This goes with meal prep, this goes with training, I call it the 5 Ps. It's proper preparation prevents poor performance. So if you're properly prepared, there's no way that you'll fail, right? So
I
just
like
go
that.
into everything like you know something's coming up. Peak week, get prepared for it. You know you're traveling, get prepared for it. You know you're going to be having post show eats, get prepared for it, right? If you don't, then that's how people spiral out of control because they don't have a plan. So,
Yep. And I think that's what separates people from this is what he was hitting on as well. Like if you want to take this serious, like if you want to take bodybuilding seriously, to take it seriously, you need to like plan in advance. You need to prepare. Otherwise, failure, man. Big,
yeah,
big,
for
big part
sure.
of this sport.
Now to kind of like circle back into what we were talking about previously about like the post show blues, I think a really good thing is to talk about is essentially like how to find purpose when you do go through post show blues, like how to find that goal again. I don't know if you've ever gone through it yourself personally, like post show blues, but if so, like how did you get out of it?
It's really tricky because that is what it takes a big hit on your mental, like your confidence. And like you just said, like, I think when you're in a bodybuilding prep like that, it just gives you such a big sense of purpose, gives you something to wake up and do every single day. And you still do have that even post show, nailing your reverse and everything and whatnot. So, post show, that is something that I continue to keep nailing. And that's what has helped give me a little bit more purpose. Is just making sure that I nail my reverse diet because, I work hard for my physique and I'm proud of my physique and I don't want to wreck that. So a lot of my energy does go into nailing the reverse. And at the same time, that is kind of a double whammy because at the same time, it gives me a little bit more purpose in that. And then I don't know what it would be like I genuinely don't know what it would be like for somebody who just does a one and done show. That hasn't necessarily ever been really me. I've always just done a show, did my reverse, and then I'm planning on what we're doing next. And that is a continuation in itself to kind of keep the what's the word that we were saying? Purpose.
Yeah,
Yeah,
purpose. Yeah.
keeps my purpose going. But we've talked about this previously, and I used an analogy, and I can't remember. I think it was episode 2, but just the different buckets analogy. Pretty much, you've got like just to recap on it, you've got like 3 different buckets in your life, whether that be bodybuilding, business, or relationships. And if you try to add a 4th bucket, then no matter what happens, you're going to pull from one of the other 3 buckets. And so in a bodybuilding prep, it's very important that you just stick to the 3 buckets, and anything kinda on the outside kinda gets pushed to the side. But that doesn't mean that those other buckets are gonna be empty forever. Everything comes in seasons, right? So after you get off of the bodybuilding stage, then you can add another bucket and start filling that one up and pulling from the bodybuilding bucket, right? So I guess it's just finding something else, whether, you weren't super great with relationships in prep, because that is a very common thing that happens. Kind of using post show to like rekindle those relationships. And that would, I feel like, play into purpose a little bit more. Just anything, just because prep can become a very dark space if you let it. And it can affect a lot on the people around you. So I guess that would kind of be my answer, is just pour into pour into everything else that you couldn't pour into when you were in prep.
Yeah, no,
What
for
would you
sure.
say? What would your advice
Well,
be
I mean,
for?
man, I can relate to the post-show blues, post-show depression, whatever you wanna call it. I can really relate to that because I honestly, the last show in May, like, I wasn't gonna compete again because of 2 reasons. The first reason is because I had such a horrible experience with one of my coaches and, someone that was training me. Well, actually, 2 of the people who trained me. And then the second reason is because I just got completely burnt out because I got destroyed in prep. Like I was in the gym for multiple hours a day, and I don't know, I just like hitting the stage. It felt good, and then after that, I just didn't have a purpose for it again. But then, like, I took a 3 month hiatus from the gym. I didn't even go to the gym for 3 months because I just couldn't be back in there. Like, I had to slowly like get back in gradually. I hopped on the treadmill, started picking up dumbbells by week 2, and it was just like I had to just pick myself up again. So that was really tough. And the way that I got out of that was honestly like my clients. My clients like really got me out of the post-show blues because I felt like I didn't have purpose, and then I found purpose within all of my clients, and then that truly gave me like a light at the end of the tunnel. Like what's my purpose? And then they're my purpose. And then seeing that and being like, okay, I need to give this another shot. And then I fell back in love with it like instantly. So it's honestly like just sitting back and finding out what's most important to you, seeing how the prep went and seeing if you want to do it again, you know? And I mean, if you had a bad experience with a coach, give it a shot with another coach too. Cause I was honestly gonna give up on it, right? Like I had a really bad experience. I lost 15 pounds in my first week on my first cut. And I was like, okay, if this is how prep goes, then I'm not doing this again. And then I found out like, no, not every coach is the same. And then here I am today. So,
That was a
mhm.
very big thing for me too, especially getting off of the last stage, last show that I did. One of my biggest, missions was to just focus on my coaching business and my clients. And, you know, that brought me, like you said, a lot of purpose. And that is kind of what I've plugged a lot of my energy into. Now, I mean, obviously there's a ton of people that are listening to this right now that aren't necessarily coaches themselves. So I was kind of trying to relate a little bit to what I would do if I wasn't a coach. But yeah, that is definitely something that kind of helped get me back mentally and keep me in a good spot mentally. But I mean, like you said, kind of getting burnt out. I think that's completely normal. And, I've talked to you about this, but even recently, like I'm still struggling to find my drive back in the gym. And that is kind of something when you're signing up for a bodybuilding prep, not a lot of people talk about. It can burn you out. Like I remember before I started prepping, I loved being in the gym. That was my safe space. And I just loved going to the gym. And, post show, post bodybuilding, for the longest time, I would see it as more of a chore than anything. I think a prep can do that. So just, I guess one of the first things I heard when it came to bodybuilding was actually something like Chris Bumstead had said in like one of his vlogs. But he said like post Olympia, what he does is he doesn't go back to the gym the week after the show. He literally just says like, screw the gym. I'm just gonna chill, do my thing. And then once I get that little urge to go work out again, I'm missing the gym and I feel kind of like the gym pulling me back in. That's when he'll end up going back to the gym. So like you said, you took a 3 month hiatus from the gym. I don't see anything wrong with that, bro. I think that that's actually really, really smart way to do it. And then just getting back in the gym whenever you're ready, I think is a super crucial way to do it without getting burnt out. because I think that enjoying the gym is such a very big part of all this.
Yeah, because think of how many people don't enjoy the gym to begin with. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people don't wanna show up, and I'm going through the same thing too, where it's like, dude, I don't wanna be at the gym for, more than an hour. Like, if
Yeah.
I'm there for more than an hour, it's like, yeah, no, this ain't happening again. So, like, I'm in there for, like right now, honestly, like, 45 minutes, and then I'm good, And it's like, it's having that balance again, which honestly feels pretty nice, but dude, like, finding that fuel again is has helped me, like, really return to the gym and, like, cause like, what I said last time is my last show, not this one on the 2nd, but the one prior to that is, like, I took a 3-month hiatus because I didn't have a goal, I didn't have any fuel, I had nothing. This time, I actually have a plan, coach, and I have something that I wanna push towards, which is, competing again next year, and I know what I need to work on this time in order to be undeniable.
Yeah, and that's
So
kind of my advice to anybody who is post-show that isn't a coach, is to just find something that you want to put more time and energy into and do that. Like, obviously, being in a prep, you learned some super helpful skills, right? You learned how to be disciplined, you learned how to do things even when you didn't wanna do them. You just kinda built the mentality of me personally, I believe this, like, I built the mentality of, "If I can do this, what can't I do?" So if you can just take everything that you learned from your bodybuilding prep and then go and apply it to something else, I genuinely believe like you will be setting yourself up for so much success.
mhm.
So, whether that be a business, whether that be just, putting more energy into work or relationships or whatever that might be, like use the tools that you learned, the skills that you got from bodybuilding and go apply it to something else in your life. Otherwise, you're going to crash and burn and that is when mentally you're going to fall off. And then mentally leads to physically and that leads to binging and next thing you know you're up 30 pounds in, you know, 2 months.
Yeah, it's funny too because me and you were kind of talking. It was like last week or something about like how both you and I agree everyone should go through a prep, and it's funny because a lot of people think like, you just getting dialed in for a show is going to help you with one area of your life, and that's like a physical transformation. No, it is the biggest mental transformation that you can go under because it changes your entire world. My self control, like everything has just changed dramatically, all for the better. And now that prep is done, I have such a bigger appreciation for the fact that I actually went through prep again because it changed me. Every single prep changes me, which is super cool, and it's good change too, you know?
That's what I that and that right there is like why I love bodybuilding so much. Like I'm a huge personal development guy and I don't think that there is any way that you can grow more than doing a bodybuilding prep and like challenging yourself to do that. Boom, boom. But yeah, here we go. So I'm trying to figure out what to talk about next.
You're good. I think that like what's normal versus what's abnormal post show. So I think we kind of talked about this a little bit, right? What's normal and what's abnormal. What is abnormal is not setting yourself up for what could happen. Being like, put it this way, if you're traveling for a show, like writing out where you're going, how you're going to get there, I mean, food prep, the whole nine, right? Like setting yourself up, like that's what basically should be the norm. And having a coach that will also like tell you as well, like, hey, I want you to get ready for this. Like, bring a rice cooker, bring a chocolate, like rice cakes, honey, the whole nine. Like, they basically give you a prep sheet. That's at least what I do with all my guys. Like, I want you to bring this to your show just so in case we need it, like, this is what we get ready for. And honestly, having a really good coach is like being able to tell you, like, hey, I need you to lock in post show. Because if a coach tells you, like, all right, just do whatever and then check in with me, like, whenever you want, like, after the show, and then I'll get you your reverse diet. Like, there's a bunch of people who just completely ghost you, right? Like
I've had it
post show.
happen, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, like I've had it happen. They're done with the show and then they ghost because they didn't hear from their coach.
Or
Or
yeah,
just
or
like
just
they
because they
just
want to
wanted
fall
to,
off plan.
yeah, or they just want to do whatever, right?
Yeah,
So that's,
that's
I don't know,
that's
that's what
yeah,
I,
that's what I've had happen to me is just people don't wanna listen to the reverse diet, and then I get ghosted.
yeah.
And then what happens next?
See them on Instagram a few days later and it's like, they
It's
ate
like,
their
"Buddy."
last meal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't want anybody to go through that. So, it's hard,
Yeah.
but, I mean, bodybuilding itself is hard. You're past the hard part now. Like, you should, by the end of it, have the skills to be able to get through a reverse diet pretty
Yeah,
easily.
I mean, think about it too. Put it this way, like, me and you talked about it before, which is like you're essentially I don't wanna say wasting, but, like, if you don't follow the plan post-show, you're wasting that entire prep. Like, yeah, you did the show, which is amazing, but don't you wanna keep that, like, six-pack? Don't you wanna,
Yeah.
like, look really good post-show? Not only that too, but also financially. Like, what just happened to the money that you spent to do the show, to do the prep, to, like, not go out to eat at dinner? Like, all that's like, what do you mean? Like, you know what I mean? There's more that goes into it than just physical.
Exactly, like, and I spent 20 weeks peeling away fat. I don't wanna get fat after that. I wanna hold my physique
Yeah.
as long as I can, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no,
for
yeah,
sure.
definitely something that is probably the most underrated topic when it comes to a bodybuilding prep is the post-show, but yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I think something as well that not a lot of people really talk about is like the loss of structure, you know? Because I'm not gonna lie to you, a show can throw off a lot of structure that you have in your life. Like for me, because I just had to like do a mental like all right reevaluation of like my priorities, which is like you're super structured leading up to the show, and then show day, and then right after that structure goes out the window, you know what I mean? And then it's up to you to get back on structure, right? Like being able to wake up, like, yeah, if you want to go to the gym, go to the gym, but like making all your meals, meal prepping, and not just like throwing it all out the window because the show's done. You know what I mean? It's like still having that structure, which is going to be really hard because, I mean, dude, I did a few shows and I'm still going through it, right? Like just finding that structure again, you know?
yeah, and just keeping the habits that you work so hard to instill in yourself through the whole prep. Like, don't like we've talked about this, I think in the first episode, but like once you do a bodybuilding prep, you're never going to be the same. And if you before you started a bodybuilding prep, you didn't track your food, you just ate McDonald's for all of your meals. You had just 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. You were either under eating or overeating. Like that's not you anymore, right? You did a bodybuilding prep, you take your health as a priority. And so coming in post show, you should keep that same mentality, right? Now, you'll have a little bit more food post-show, so you can kinda fill that in with whatever, and I don't know if you do this for your clients, but I definitely encourage my guys to get on not necessarily a meal plan if they need it and that's how they work the best post-show, then definitely keep a meal plan in, but give people a little bit of, freedom with macros. This is what I do because then they can kind of experiment with foods that they didn't necessarily get to have in prep or in peak week, and, they can still stay on top of all of their goals without, and still experiment and have fun and enjoy different foods, maybe even work in like eating out a little bit more often while still staying in the macros and making sure that you don't gain 30 pounds in 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah, what I like to do is, post-show, I give them basically a meal plan and then the macros along with it. So it's like, "Hey, man, you can have this meal, but you can also replace it with XYZ," which I know is something that you wanted to, go out and try. So you have, like, 25 grams protein, 40 carb, I don't know, 10 fat to go play around with and eat whatever, right? So, it's pretty cool because you can experiment. It doesn't have to be just a chicken, broccoli, and rice diet, right?
Yeah, and I think that
That's how
makes
you
it
get
so
burnt
much.
out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's what makes it so much more doable too.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's kind of like everything that I wanted to hit on in this episode. You don't have any final words?
No, I think to just to like recap everything. I mean, the thing going on right now with MD is pretty insane with ChatGPT, and I made a post about it the other day where I said disappointed, not surprised, because I'm genuinely not even surprised at all because it happens all the time, and I see it like take its toll on other people who are looking for a genuine coach, right? And then they get ChatGPT for 500-600 bucks a month, and it's like you know what I mean?
And it's
It's
another thing
insane.
too is like I don't feel like people like I think it's a lot harder to find a good coach than people think it is. What do you think?
That's a baller of a statement. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's pretty spot on, but if you want a good
it is.
coach, hey, message me, either me or Ant. Like, you're in good hands there. So you can trust in that. But yeah, it is. If you're coach shopping, it's very hard to figure out like who is a genuine and good coach and who you're just going to be another number for. I think it's really important to find a coach that truly cares about like all of their clients and is going to give you like their 100%, like, and that you're not just going to be another number on their roster.
Yeah, and talk to their clients too, right?
Yeah.
That's huge. Like I was because I took like a 2-year break from bodybuilding, and I started messaging everybody's every coach that I was interested in, I was messaging all of his clients just to make sure like he is a good coach, he does the right thing, even if they're like a new client or an older client, you never know, right? So I would just like, dude, message your clients because you can. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's huge.
Yeah. Do your research on coaches because you're gonna be putting a lot of time and energy into what they're telling you to do. Make sure they check out.
Oh, for sure, yeah. But I think that's all I had personally. I think that was
Cool.
good. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I think that was great. But cool. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of the Dialed Podcast. This was episode 4. We're talking about post show blues. Make sure you guys stay tuned in for next week. We're going to be talking about going into the off season and building on top of your already peeled physique. So yeah, you don't want to miss that one. But thank you guys as always for tuning in. I'm Nick. This is Ant. Ant, say bye.
Peace, guys.
All right.
It was a good one. Later.
Awesome. Later, guys.